The Kei cuttings and the N2 joins the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal and Western Cape. Transport Minister Ben Martins joined his officers keeping an eye on motorists. He says harsh measures are needed to deal with repeat offenders. In KwaZulu-Natal, where 25 people have died in accidents this Easter, police continue to clamp down. Over 30,000 cars have been stopped and checked in the past 48 hours. 127 vehicles, including buses and taxis, were impounded for having been unroadworthy. More than 1,000 people have been charged for various offences.
What we now must do is we must look at dealing with the owners severely. Because some of them are registering their cars wrongfully, others are deliberately allowing suspended vehicles to carry the people, the passengers, on our roads, and we must now deal with them.
Other border posts were also busy as people returned from neighbouring countries.
Yesterday we cleared more than 14,000 people. Today we are expecting to clear over 25,000 people.
Hundreds of thousands of ZCC pilgrims concluded their annual Easter prayers and began their journey home from Moria in Limpopo. Thousands of taxis, cars and buses piled onto the N1 between Polokwane and Gauteng. 15 people have died in the province so far.
And staying with the traffic, we now cross live to our reporter Mangoba Nkunu. He's standing by at the Pumlani Toll Plaza to tell us about the traffic there. A very good evening to you, Mangoba. Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about the traffic volumes where you are?
Well, Vabakshni, traffic volumes are indeed high on the country's road, especially here on the N1, as many people head back from their various holiday destinations back home. Obviously, many cars heading towards the south, and that's towards Johannesburg. Now, here at the Pumlani Toll Plaza, we've seen a lot of traffic jam. I mean, a traffic congestion that went to over a kilometer earlier on, but now the traffic seems to have gone down at the current moment. This as now authorities or traffic authorities have now opened the gates here to allow easy flow of traffic in order to try and make the road open for those many vehicles that are traveling through from Limpopo, coming obviously from Moria in Limpopo. As we know, during this time, it's usually the ZCC pilgrimage that takes place annually in Moria, and many, as about 10,000 buses, usually ferry hundreds of thousands of ZCC worshippers to Moria, and as they come back, there usually is a lot of traffic and heavy delays on the roads here on the N1. Now, we've been receiving many reports of traffic delays, especially at Kranskop Toll Plaza as well, which is further north from here. We've heard that vehicles there are queued for over an hour just waiting to get through, all of them heading towards Gauteng. Now, here at the Pumlani Toll Plaza at the moment, the current toll stands at 2,000, just over 2,200 vehicles that are passing through heading towards Johannesburg, and just over 600 cars that are passing heading north towards Limpopo. We've also heard of traffic delays also on the N3. There were reports that the queue there stretches to over 30 kilometers, and that queue now, obviously authorities trying to take care of it, saying that people should be patient. People there are queuing up to an hour just to wait to get through to the Dihoek Plaza. So traffic officials say, though, they do expect the numbers or the traffic to start flowing freely or to reduce after 8 o'clock tonight.
Thank you very much. That was our reporter Mangoba Nkunu coming to us live from the Pumlani Toll Plaza. We will, of course, be talking to Ashraf Ismail. He's from the Road Traffic Management Corporation in terms of those traffic volumes over this Easter long weekend. Now, the long weekend sees South Africans take to the roads, and a spike in road accidents and fatalities. We're now joined by Ashraf Ismail from the Road Traffic Management Corporation in the studio. A very good evening to you, and thank you for joining us.
Very good evening. Firstly, let me take this opportunity of congratulating the team on this beautiful studio and being part of this special occasion. Had I known, I would have worn my new tie.
Thank you very much for that. And talking about making inroads, because that's what we are trying to do, make inroads, have you as the Road Traffic Management Corporation managed to make inroads in terms of the Easter road death fatality this year versus last year?
Yes, certainly. I think we must start by saying that last year we had a significant reduction compared to the previous year. We will have the final figures around Thursday and Friday, and clearly at this point in time all indications are that it's looking positive. We want to be cautiously optimistic, though. We still have a few critical hours before the Easter campaign officially ends at 12 o'clock tonight.
Now let's talk about the fatalities in terms of huge accidents. What have we seen over this weekend? Has it been bad?
Well, Vibhashini, that's the whole thing. You know, we haven't had a major fatal crash reported up until this morning when we got news of a terrible crash that occurred in which it is alleged a suspected drunken driver drove into a crowd of people outside of Leerdijk near Sun City in the Northwest Province. 5 people were killed and 5 critically injured. And clearly that has been a terrible turn to us. But having said that, you know, that's not the only performance indicator. There has been other fatal crashes, but not major. And we're hoping and trusting that really, you know, we come through this one without that. The other positive thing is that public passenger transport vehicles have not been involved in major fatal crashes. And truly, if this is the beginning of a new era, then the RTMC is certainly making inroads.
So we're winning the war in terms of buses and taxis. What about passenger vehicles? Are drivers actually being responsible? Are they heeding this call to drive safer, to not drink and drive?
Yes, Vibhashini, I must say, you know, I'm beginning to pick up, and this anecdotal picture that I have comes from the fact that I've covered more than 3,000 kilometers in the last 7 days. And what I have discovered is probably, and I'm being very unscientific when I say this, that there seems to be a double standard among our South African drivers. When we travel on long distances on the major arterial routes, we tend to comply, we behave ourselves because we know there's going to be an increased presence, almost a saturation of enforcement. But what happens is the moment people arrive at the destinations, drinking and driving becomes a serious problem. And this is borne out by the fact that in JMPD alone, we had 352 people arrested for drinking and driving. Thus far, more than 655 people arrested nationwide, and the picture is not even in total. So clearly there's still a lot of work to be done. People out there still taking chances. We're hoping that the WOZA retest campaign, in which if you have been arrested and found guilty on one of the 3 arrestable charges, you will be asked to redo both your learner's as well as driver's license.
That's very interesting. That was the Road Traffic Management Corporation's Ashraf Ismail talking to us about the Easter death toll, and also saying that drivers actually not heeding the call totally not to drink and drive. Also interesting to see when that demerit system kicks in, how drivers will actually respond to that.